So she believed in serving others with great love and compassion, in all humility. Her focus was on those in need. Her life was lived for them. Her God self, her higher self led the way persistently, despite what challenges she had. She's quoted as saying, God doesn't ask us to do great things. He asks us to do small things with great love. Hers was a ministry of one-on-one. She healed people one-on-one, one at a time. And I don't know if I said it before, but the missionaries of charity literally served thousands upon thousands of people in their ministry since 48 to 97. Not one soul was ever turned away. How did the order live? The order got up at 4:20 a.m. every morning, good morning, 4:20, and they worked tirelessly until 10 p.m. when they retired. And the quotes that I found more often than not is they walked quickly. So much so they were known as the running nuns. That's what they were termed. There was tons of work to be done. There were tons of people to be helped at that time. And you see, there was no time for Teresa to be self-absorbed. What about me? What about what I don't have? What about what I do feel? What about my heart problems? I mean, I don't have heart issues. I can only imagine. You have this deep, dark depression for 50 years, persistently, a persistent dark night of the soul, truly, and then you have cardiovascular issues on top of that. She wanted to do God's work. She wanted to be the hands and the face of God. She wanted these people to see that. Sometimes she would just bring them in to allow them to die in dignity. She's often quoted as saying, give until it hurts. It's not something we hear in the Unity Church all the time. We're much more comfortable over here, right? But what I believe that means is don't just give what's convenient, when it's convenient. We have radical faith enough to give when we don't feel like it, when we're tired, when we feel we're an empty vessel and have nothing to give. Why? Because we believe, or I believe, that God will take care of me. As I take care of his people, he's taking care of me. I'm 44 years old. That has never once let me down. That has never once let me down when I stepped out in faith. One of her most brilliant quotes about faith and service, I love this one. She says this: when you look at the inner workings of electrical things, you often see small and big wires, new and old, cheap and expensive, all lined up. Until the current passes through them, there will be no light. The wires are you and me. The current is God, right? We have the power to let the current pass through us, use us, produce the light of the world, or we can refuse to be used and allow darkness to spread. How hard it must have been for her to make the choice over and over again to serve others through the throes of depression and despair for 50 years with the added bonus of all her medical and cardiovascular issues. 4,200 people have stepped forward, the records show, that they call these supernatural healings. I believe there'll be more and more of that on the back end of Teresa. And here's the other thing. The Vatican is keeping sealed some records of her life and her gifts. It's unbeknownst to me why they're keeping it sealed. It's unbeknownst to me if they'll ever let the public know about these things. But what I can tell you is there's more than meets the eye. Was Teresa unique? Was she special? Well, in some ways, yes. She heard the call. She refused to be knocked down by adversity, and she kept on moving. But in other ways, guys, we have all the gifts. I said it before. The seed that was planted in her is the same seed that's planted in every one of us here today. She refused to say no. She refused to not live out her mission persistently. All her great works that she did, we can do too. Like she taught us in her mighty quote, we choose. We get to choose. Are we going to let fear get the best of us? Or will we grab hold of our faith and push through to our own divine ministry? That's our choice. No one can take that choice from us. Who will you serve, and how will you serve today? That's the question. But we could have talked about her compassion and love. She believed in showing love through action. Getting up and doing the thing. She believed in that. Her strength and power, overcoming and triumph over a host of difficulties. I just can't even imagine. Which one of us who would not have quit when she started in 48 would not have quit by the end of 48 or by 49? I would have been out of there like a shot. Her commitment to simplicity and humbleness. simplicity. Do small things with great love. Her alignment to peace. I've said this before here at one of my talks a couple months ago, and she was asked, you know, Mother Teresa, we're going to have an anti-war rally. Will you come? Will you support us? She said, no. She said, no. She said, but when you have a rally for peace, call me. I'll be there. She believed in promoting in the positive, not fighting. Like Jesus taught us, resist not evil, Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount. Don't spend time fighting that. Promote your cause. You want to help people? Go help people. And then her surrender and obedience without any reservation at all. She surrendered, and when she surrendered, it was all the way. And she's quoted as saying, if I have to die, that's great. The sooner I'll meet Jesus. You know, she loved Jesus. That was her thing. But I'm going to do this because I heard it. I saw him, and I want to do it. All principles, all these principles that when explored and adopted can help us to make a radical shift for the better in our own life and those we would love and serve. Just a few. You can pick one. You can pick one for the rest of the year and say, you know what, I'm going to work on my faith walk. I'm going to work on my compassion. Work on compassion in one person. See about the fruits. See, because she did great works from 48 to 97. But the greater work, no one can take that away from her. That's impossible enough. But now, since her death, she's healing all these people through prayer and intercession. She's healing all these people. That's the byproduct of living a life of radical faith, radical obedience to her divine mission, staying the course like a missile. She might have got off, she got on, she got off, she got on. And she didn't have the life of Riley. We know this. Not medically, not emotionally, not financially. You pick it, the odds were against her. Yet, like a bumblebee who's too fat to fly, flies anyway. Right? The bumblebee is too heavy to fly. Yet there they are. Just as happy as they want to be. So the biggest thing I take away from her life is no matter what it feels like, hold on to your faith. Persist in doing the right thing, and all, sooner or later, will work out for good. If you feel like you're in the furnace, you probably are. But hold on anyway. Do small things with great love. I leave you with this comforting, hopefully comforting thought from Blessed Mother Teresa. Don't allow anything to interfere with your love for God. You belong to him. Nothing can separate you from him. That one sentence is important to remember. He will be your joy, your strength. If you hold on to that sentence, temptation and difficulty will come, but nothing will break you. Remember, you have been created for great things. God bless you all.
I have all I need. I have all I need. I have all I need to share it with you and be joyous and free. Life is so good. Life is awesome. Yeah, life is so good. Life is awesome. Life is so good. You live in me. My thoughts are on you. So I say,